Captain Jake Murphy stared out the window of the starship Horizon as it approached the alien planet. His heart was beating fast. This was it. Humanity's first real meeting with another powerful space empire. Everything had to go perfectly. "Captain, we're getting a message from the surface," said Amy Collins, his communications officer. She looked nervous. Everyone on the bridge looked nervous. Jake straightened his uniform. "Put it through." The screen flickered to life. An alien woman appeared, and Jake had to stop himself from staring. She was beautiful in a way that was both familiar and completely foreign. Her skin had a slight blue tint, and her eyes were a deep violet color. She wore flowing robes that seemed to shimmer with their own light. "I am Queen Lysara of the Zafara Empire," she said. Her voice was musical, and she spoke perfect English. "Welcome to our world, Captain Murphy. We have been waiting for this day." Jake bowed slightly, remembering his training. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We are honored to meet you." The Queen smiled. It was a warm smile that made Jake feel oddly comfortable. "Please, come down to the surface. I will greet you personally." Amy turned to Jake after the screen went dark. "Did she just say she'll greet us personally? Queens don't do that, do they?" "Maybe it's their custom," Jake said, but he felt confused, too. According to all the reports they had, Zephyra queens rarely met anyone face-to-face. They usually sent ambassadors. 2 hours later, Jake and his small team stood in the grand hall of the Zafara Palace. The building was massive, with tall ceilings that seemed to reach the sky. Strange plants grew along the walls, glowing softly in colors Jake had never seen before. Queen Lysara entered the hall, and everyone bowed. Jake noticed that she walked straight toward him, ignoring the other members of his team. She stopped right in front of him, close enough that he could smell something like flowers and rain. "Captain Murphy," she said softly. "At last we meet." "At last?" Jake repeated. Have you been expecting us?" The Queen's smile grew wider. "For longer than you know. Come, let us talk." The next few days were strange for Jake. Every meeting, every dinner, every tour of the city, Queen Lysara was there. She always positioned herself next to him. She asked him questions about Earth, about his family, about his dreams. She seemed genuinely interested in everything he said. "Sir, is it just me? Or is the Queen paying a lot of attention to you?" asked Ben Carter, Jake's second-in-command, one evening. They were alone in their quarters on the ship. Jake rubbed his face. "I noticed. I don't know what to make of it. Maybe she's just interested in human culture." "Or maybe she's interested in you," Ben said, raising an eyebrow. Jake laughed. "That's crazy. She's a queen of an empire that controls hundreds of planets. I'm just a ship captain." But the thought stayed with him. Over the next week, he couldn't help but notice small things. The way Lysara's eyes lit up when he entered a room. How she always found reasons to stand close to him. The soft way she said his name. Amy pulled him aside one afternoon. "Captain, I've been studying their culture. I think the Queen might be courting you." "Courting?" Jake felt his face get hot. "That's impossible." "Is it?" Amy showed him her tablet, filled with notes. "Look at these patterns. The Zephyra have complex courtship rituals. Everything she's been doing matches the signs." Jake didn't know what to say. Part of him felt flattered. Part of him felt terrified. And a small part of him, one he didn't want to admit existed, felt excited. The formal dinner came on their last night. It was a huge event with hundreds of Zephyra nobles and officials. Jake sat next to Queen Lysara at the long table. She wore a dress that looked like it was made of starlight. "I will miss your presence when you leave tomorrow," Lysara said quietly, so only he could hear. Jake felt something twist in his chest. "I'll miss being here too, Your Majesty." "Lysara," she corrected gently. "Please call me Lysara." He smiled. Lysara. The dinner went well. Jake gave a speech about friendship between their peoples. Lysara responded with words about hope for the future. When it was over, Jake knew he wanted to give her something to remember this visit by. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Inside was his grandmother's ring, a simple silver band with a small blue stone. His grandmother had given it to him before she died, telling him to give it to someone special one day. "Your Majesty, Lysara," Jake said, standing up. The hall got quiet. "I want to thank you for your kindness to us, to me. As a token of friendship between Earth and the Zephyrah Empire, I'd like to give you this." He opened the box and held out the ring. The entire hall gasped. Jake looked around, confused. Every Zephyrah in the room was staring at him with wide eyes. Some had their hands over their mouths. Others looked like they might faint. Lysara stood slowly. Her violet eyes were huge, shimmering with emotion. She reached out with a trembling hand and took the ring from the box. She slipped it onto her finger. Then she leaned close to Jake and whispered one word in his ear. "Finally." Before Jake could ask what was happening, Lysara turned to the crowd and spoke in her own language. The Zephyrah erupted in cheers and celebration. Music started playing. People began dancing. Jake grabbed Amy's arm as she rushed past. "What's going on? What did I do?" Amy's face was white. "Captain, in Zephyrah culture, offering a personal ring directly to royalty it's a marriage proposal. You just proposed to the Queen." Jake felt the floor drop out from under him. He looked at Lysara, who was smiling at him with pure joy in her eyes. "She whispered finally," Jake said weakly. "What does that mean?" Amy shook her head. "I don't know, sir. But I think you're about to find out." Queen Lysara raised her hand and the hall fell silent again. She spoke in English this time, her voice carrying to every corner of the room. "People of Zephyrah, honored guests from Earth, I am pleased to announce that Captain Jake Murphy has asked for my hand in bonding. I have accepted. Our ceremony will begin tomorrow." The cheers were deafening. Jake stood frozen, the ring box still in his hand, as his entire life changed in an instant. Jake barely remembered getting back to the horizon. His mind was spinning. One moment he had been giving a friendly gift. The next moment he was engaged to marry the most powerful alien queen in this part of space. The crew gathered in the main meeting room. Everyone was talking at once. "This is a disaster," Ben said, pacing back and forth. "We can't have our captain marry an alien queen. What will Earth say? What will the government say?" "Maybe it's not binding," suggested Amy. "Maybe we can explain it was a mistake." Dr. Lisa Morgan, their expert on alien cultures, shook her head. She had been reading through files on her computer for the past hour. "It's binding, very binding. The Zephyrah take proposals extremely seriously. Once a proposal is accepted, it's considered a sacred bond." Jake sat with his head in his hands. "I didn't mean to propose. I just wanted to give her a gift. How was I supposed to know about their customs?" "The real question is," Lisa said slowly, looking at her screen, "why did the Queen accept so quickly? And why did she say finally? That's what bothers me." Amy nodded. She did seem like she was expecting it, like she'd been waiting for it. "That's crazy," Ben said. "She just met him a week ago." Lisa's fingers flew across her keyboard. "Actually, that's what I'm researching now. Give me a few hours. I want to look through the cultural database they gave us access to." Jake didn't sleep that night. He kept thinking about Lysara's smile, about the way she had whispered finally, like it was the answer to a prayer. What did it all mean? The next morning, Lisa called an emergency meeting. She looked tired but excited. "I found something," she said, pulling up images on the big screen. "The Zephyrah have been watching Earth for over 50 years. They've had ships in our solar system, observing us, learning about us." "We knew that," Ben said. That's not news. But this is, Lisa continued. I found records in their public archives. Queen Lysara specifically requested access to reports about human diplomats 3 years ago. And look at this. She pulled up a document. She requested detailed information about one specific person, Captain Jake Murphy. The room went silent. Everyone turned to look at Jake. Me? Jake whispered. Why me? Lisa scrolled through more files. According to these records, she studied every mission you've ever led, every negotiation, every first contact. She's been learning about you for 3 years. Amy leaned forward. So this wasn't an accident at all. She planned this. It looks that way, Lisa agreed. Jake felt anger rising in his chest. He had been set up, manipulated. He stood up and headed for the door. Where are you going? Ben called after him. To get some answers, Jake said. The Zephyra Palace guards let him in without question. They smiled at him like he was already family. Jake found Lysara in a beautiful garden, sitting by a fountain. She looked up as he approached, and her smile faded when she saw his face. You knew, Jake said. His voice was hard. You've been studying me for years. You planned this whole thing. Lysara stood slowly. She didn't look ashamed. She looked sad. Yes, she said simply. I knew about you. I planned to meet you, but I did not force your hand. Jake Murphy. Didn't force my hand? Jake laughed bitterly. You set up this whole situation. You made sure I would propose without knowing what I was doing. I created opportunities, Lysara said. Her voice was calm but firm. I left cultural information available for your people to study. I showed you kindness. I spent time with you. But the choice to give me that ring was yours alone. I did not ask for it. I did not trick you into it. Jake wanted to stay angry, but something in her words made him pause. Why? He asked. Why go through all this? You're a queen. You could have anyone. Lysara walked closer to him. Do you know what first made me interested in humans? 50 years ago, one of your space probes reached the edge of your solar system. It carried a golden record with sounds and images from Earth. Music, greetings, the sound of a human heartbeat. She smiled at the memory. My people analyzed it for months. We had never encountered a species that put so much hope and love into a message for strangers they might never meet. It moved us. It moved me. That doesn't explain why you chose me, Jake said. I studied many humans, Lysara admitted. Hundreds of them. But you were different. Every mission you led, you chose peace over war. You chose understanding over fear. You risked your life to save others, even aliens you had just met. You represented everything beautiful about your species. She looked down at the ring on her finger. My people have something we call soul recognition. It is rare, but when it happens, we simply know that we have found our perfect match. I felt it when I read about you. I felt it even stronger when we met in person. But I can't feel that, Jake said. Humans don't work that way. I know, Lysara said softly. That is why I waited. That is why I hoped you would come to feel something for me naturally in your own way. I wanted you to choose me because you wanted to, not because of any bond or magic. Jake looked at her, really looked at her. So what happens now? Can we undo this? Lysara's face went pale. Do you want to undo it? I don't know what I want, Jake said honestly. This is all happening too fast. Lysara nodded slowly. I understand. I will speak to my council. Perhaps we can arrange a trial bonding period. You could stay here for a time. Get to know me. Get to know my people and our ways. If at the end you wish to leave, you may do so without bringing shame to either of our peoples. And if I refuse now? Jake asked. Lysara's voice became quiet. Then it would be seen as a grave insult. Not to me personally, but to my entire empire. Our alliance with Earth would end. My people would withdraw all protection and support from your world. Jake felt the weight of that. Earth needed the Zephyra. There were hostile species out there, dangerous ones. Without the Zephyra's friendship, humanity would be vulnerable. So I don't really have a choice, he said bitterly. You have a choice, Lysera corrected. It is not an easy choice, but it is still a choice. Stay for 3 months. Learn about us. About me. Then decide. I promise I will not hold you here against your will, no matter the political cost. Jake studied her face. She looked sincere. And beneath his anger, he had to admit something to himself. He had enjoyed the time they spent together this past week. She was smart, funny, and kind. In another situation, he might have been interested in her. 3 months, he said finally. I'll stay for 3 months, but I'm not making any promises. Lysera's smile was like the sun coming out. That is all I ask. A chance. That evening, Jake told his crew about the arrangement. Ben was unhappy but understood the political reality. Amy looked worried. Lisa seemed fascinated by the whole thing. I'll stay with you, Ben said. You'll need someone watching your back. We'll all stay, Amy added. The rest of the crew nodded in agreement. Jake felt grateful for his team. Whatever happened next, at least he wouldn't face it alone. He looked out the window at the alien city below, glowing in the evening light. 3 months. 3 months to learn about a completely different culture. 3 months to get to know a queen who claimed she had been waiting for him. 3 months to figure out what his heart really wanted. The first week of Jake's trial bonding period was awkward. He moved into a suite of rooms in the palace, and Lysera gave him space. She didn't push or demand his attention. Instead, she sent guides to show him around the city and teachers to help him learn the Zephyra language. Jake spent his mornings learning. The Zephyra language was musical and complex, but he worked hard at it. In the afternoons, Lysera would invite him to join her for various activities. Sometimes they would walk in the gardens. Other times they would sit and talk over tea. Tell me about your family, Lysera said one afternoon as they sat under a tree with silver leaves. Jake smiled, thinking of home. My parents run a small farm in Colorado. They grow vegetables and raise chickens. It's simple but peaceful. My sister Katie is a teacher. She has 2 kids. Do you miss them? Lysera asked. Every day, Jake admitted. Do you have family? Lysera's expression grew sad. My parents died when I was young. I have a younger brother, but he lives on another world, managing our colonies there. Being queen can be very lonely. Jake saw the loneliness in her eyes and felt a stab of sympathy. Is that why you wanted to find someone? To not be alone? Partly, Lysera said, but also because I wanted to share my life with someone who understood me. Someone who saw me as more than just a queen. Over the following weeks, Jake began to see Lysera as more than just a queen, too. She was incredibly smart, running an empire that spanned hundreds of worlds. But she also had a sense of humor that surprised him. She loved terrible jokes and puns. She could make him laugh even when he was trying to be serious. One day, she took him to a Zephyra sporting event. It was like soccer mixed with low-gravity ballet. Jake didn't understand all the rules, but he enjoyed watching Lysera cheer and shout like any regular fan. I didn't think queens went to sports games, he said. Lysera grinned. Queens are people too, Jake. We just have more responsibilities. But I still like to have fun when I can. That night, as Jake lay in bed, he realized he was starting to like her, really like her. Not because of political pressure or obligation, but because she was genuinely wonderful to be around. Ben noticed the change. You're smiling more, he said during one of their morning training sessions. Jake insisted on keeping up his physical fitness routine. Am I? Jake asked. Yeah, you look happy. Ben paused. Are you falling for her? Jake didn't answer right away. Maybe. Is that crazy? A month ago, I would have said yes, Ben admitted. But I've been watching you two together. She makes you happy, and you make her happy. Sometimes that's all that matters. In the second month, Lysera started showing Jake the deeper parts of Zefara culture. She took him to ancient temples and showed him historical sites. She explained their philosophy and values. We believe that all life is connected, she said as they stood in a temple that was thousands of years old. Every being in the universe is part of one great song. When we find someone whose song harmonizes perfectly with ours, we call it soul recognition. And you felt that with me? Jake asked. From the first moment I read about you, Lysera said. I know you cannot feel it the same way. Human brains are not built for it, but I hope that perhaps given time, you might come to care for me in your own human way. Jake looked at her. The light coming through the temple windows made her skin glow. I think I already do, he said quietly. Lysera's eyes widened. Truly? Truly, Jake said. I didn't want to admit it at first. I was angry about being tricked. But you didn't trick me, not really. You just gave me a chance to meet you. And now that I know you, I can't imagine leaving. Lysera stepped closer. Jake Murphy, you have no idea how long I have waited to hear those words. Actually, I think I do, Jake said with a smile. 3 years, right? She laughed, and it was the most beautiful sound he had ever heard. That evening, Lysera invited Jake to a private dinner. It was just the two of them on a balcony overlooking the city. The sky was filled with 2 moons and countless stars. Tell me what you love about Earth, Lysera said. Jake thought about it. I love that humans never give up. We're small and weak compared to most species out there. We've only just started exploring space, but we keep pushing forward. We keep hoping for better things. We keep believing that tomorrow can be brighter than today. That is what I love about humans too, Lysera said. That hope, that determination. You see the universe as full of possibilities, not dangers. It is beautiful. What do you love about your people? Jake asked. We value harmony and connection, Lysera said. We have been traveling the stars for thousands of years, and in all that time, we have tried to help other species rather than conquer them. We believe that the universe is better when everyone works together. Jake reached across the table and took her hand. That's why we make a good match. Humans have the hope and determination. Zefara have the wisdom and experience. Together we could do amazing things. Lysera squeezed his hand. Do you really believe that? I do, Jake said. I believe in us. Over the next few weeks, Jake and Lysera grew even closer. She taught him Zefara dances, and he taught her Earth music. She showed him how to meditate in the Zefara way, and he showed her how to cook human food. They talked for hours about everything and nothing. Amy and the crew noticed the change. Captain seems really happy, Amy said to Ben one day. He is, Ben agreed. I think this might actually work out. Lisa was documenting everything for her research. This is historic, she kept saying. The first human-Zefara bonding. This will change everything. Jake started to see the universe through Lysera's eyes. She showed him how the Zefara viewed other species with compassion and curiosity rather than fear. She explained how her empire worked to keep peace across hundreds of worlds. She shared her dreams of a future where all species could live and work together in harmony. Earth will play an important role in that future, she said one night as they looked at the stars together. Your people have something special, a spark, a passion for life. The galaxy needs that. You really believe that? Jake asked. I do, Lysera said. And I believe that you and I together can help build bridges between our peoples. We can show everyone that differences can be strengths, not weaknesses. Jake pulled her close. When I first came here, I thought this was all a mistake. Now I think it might be the best thing that ever happened to me. Lysara rested her head on his shoulder. For me too. I waited 3 years to meet you, Jake Murphy. It was worth every moment. As the 3rd month approached its end, Jake knew what his decision would be. He wasn't staying because of political pressure or obligation. He was staying because he had found something rare and precious. He had found someone who understood him, challenged him, and made him want to be better. He had found love in the last place he expected it, with an alien queen who had somehow seen into his soul and decided he was worth waiting for. And now, he was ready to take the next step. Not because he had to, but because he wanted to. Because his heart, in its very human way, had finally caught up to what Lysara's soul had known all along. They belonged together. Jake woke up to alarms blaring. He jumped out of bed and grabbed his communicator. Ben's face appeared on the screen, and he looked worried. "Captain, we have a situation. You need to get to the command center now." Jake threw on his clothes and ran through the palace halls. Guards rushed past him, all heading in the same direction. He found Lysara already in the command center, surrounded by her military advisors. Her face was pale. "What's happening?" Jake asked. Lysara turned to him. "The Krethiks. They've attacked one of your colony worlds, New Portland." Jake felt his blood run cold. New Portland was home to 5,000 humans, families, children. "How bad is it?" "Bad," said one of the Zephyra generals. "They hit the main settlement with orbital strikes. The colony's defenses are holding for now, but they won't last long." "We need to send ships immediately," Jake said. "We need to help them." "We are already mobilizing the fleet," Lysara said. She looked at her advisors. "How long until we can get there?" 6 hours at maximum speed, the general replied. Ben entered the room with Amy and Lisa right behind him. "Captain, we're getting reports. The Krethiks are claiming that humans have no right to that system. They say we're invading their territory." "That's a lie," Jake said angrily. "We checked. That system was unclaimed. We followed all the proper procedures." Lysara nodded. "They are lying. They have been looking for an excuse to attack humanity. You are young and new to space. They see you as weak." "They're going to learn different," Jake said. A new face appeared on the main screen. It was a Krethix, a large alien with gray armored skin and forearms. His face was cruel and cold. "I am Commander Vrak of the Krethix Empire," he said. "We demand that the humans leave New Portland immediately. If they do not, we will destroy the colony completely." "You have no right to that system," Lysara said firmly. "Leave now, or face the consequences." Vrak laughed. It was an ugly sound. "The Zephyra would go to war over these weak humans? How interesting. But we have a better solution. We invoke the ancient law of champion's right." Jake looked at Lysara. "What's champion's right?" one of the advisors explained. "It is an old law that many species follow. When there is a dispute, each side chooses a champion to fight in single combat. The winner decides the outcome. If our champion wins," Vrak said, "the humans will leave New Portland and stop all space exploration. You will return to your little planet and stay there." "And if your champion loses?" Lysara asked. "Then we will withdraw our claim and leave the humans in peace," Vrak said. He smiled, showing sharp teeth. "But our champion has never lost a battle. Not in 300 fights." The screen went dark. The room was silent for a moment. "We will send our best warrior," one of the Zephyra generals said. "He can defeat this Krethix champion." "No," Jake said. Everyone turned to look at him. "I'll do it." "Jake, no," Lysara said immediately. "You don't have to do this." "Yes, I do," Jake said. "This is a human colony. These are my people who are in danger. I won't hide behind Zephyra warriors to protect them." Ben stepped forward. "Captain, this is suicide. You heard what they said. Their champion has won 300 fights. You're a diplomat, not a warrior." I'm also a captain, Jake said. I trained in combat like every officer. And I've fought before. Against other humans, Amy said. Her voice was shaking. Not against aliens who have been fighting for hundreds of years. Jake looked at Lysara. She had tears in her eyes. Please don't do this, she whispered. I just found you. I can't lose you now. He went to her and took her hands. If I don't do this, who will? Those people on New Portland are counting on us. On me. And besides, this is what humans do. We face impossible odds. We fight even when we're scared. It's who we are. Lysara closed her eyes. A single tear ran down her cheek. This is exactly why I love your species. This courage, this stubbornness, this refusal to give up. She opened her eyes and looked at him. And this is exactly why I'm terrified of losing you. You won't lose me, Jake said, hoping it was true. I'm going to win. The next 3 days were intense. Ben and the Zephyr combat trainers worked with Jake from dawn until late at night. They taught him techniques for fighting larger opponents. They showed him how to use speed and agility against strength. They drilled him again and again until his muscles screamed. Lisa studied everything she could find about the Krethiks. They're strong and fast, she said, but they're also predictable. They rely on power and intimidation. If you can stay calm and think clearly, you might find a weakness. Amy helped him practice his reflexes. You have to be faster than him, she said. Faster and smarter. Lysara spent every evening with Jake. She helped him meditate to calm his mind. She told him stories about Zephyra warriors who had won against impossible odds. She held him close and whispered that she believed in him. Win or lose, she said on the last night before the fight. I want you to know something. These past 3 months have been the happiest of my life. You've shown me what it means to be truly connected to someone, not because of soul recognition or ancient bonds, but because of simple, honest love. Jake kissed her forehead. I love you too, and I'm going to come back to you. I promise. The fight was held on a neutral station, a massive structure floating in space. Representatives from dozens of alien species came to watch. It was more than just a fight. It was a test of whether humanity belonged in the larger galactic community. Jake stood in the center of the combat arena. It was a circular platform surrounded by energy barriers. On the other side stood the Krethiks champion. He was massive, easily 8 feet tall with muscles like steel cables. His 4 arms ended in claws that looked sharp enough to cut through metal. You are the human champion? The Krethiks said. He laughed. You are so small. This will be over quickly. Jake said nothing. He just watched and waited. The signal came to start. The Krethiks charged forward like a bull, incredibly fast for his size. Jake rolled to the side at the last second, barely avoiding a swipe that would have torn him apart. He came up and struck at the Krethiks' side, but his blow bounced off the armored skin. The fight was brutal. The Krethiks was stronger and faster than Jake had expected. Every hit that landed on Jake felt like being struck by a hammer. He could feel ribs cracking. His vision blurred from blood running into his eyes. But Jake didn't give up. He watched. He learned. He noticed that the Krethiks always attacked the same way. Right claws first, then left. There was a pattern, a rhythm. Jake started using the arena itself. He led the Krethiks in circles, making him work harder. He dodged and rolled, making the larger alien waste energy on missed attacks. He struck at joints and soft spots, small attacks that didn't do much damage but added up over time. The crowd was silent, watching this tiny human refuse to stay down. Every time the Krethiks knocked Jake to the ground, he got back up. Bleeding, hurt, but standing. Why won't you quit? The Krethiks roared in frustration. Jake spit blood and smiled. Because I'm human. We don't quit. He saw his opening. The Krethiks was tired now, making mistakes. He swung with all 4 arms at once, overcommitting. Jake ducked under the attack and swept the alien's legs out from under him. The massive warrior crashed to the ground. Before the Krethiks could recover, Jake was on him. He grabbed one of the alien's arms and twisted it at an angle it wasn't meant to go. The Krethiks screamed in pain. "Yield!" Jake said. "Never!" The Krethiks snarled. Jake twisted harder. "Yield, or I break it!" The Krethiks looked into Jake's eyes and saw something there that made him afraid. This small human would do it. He would break the arm without hesitation. "I yield," the Krethiks said quietly. The crowd erupted in noise, cheering, shouting. Jake let go and tried to stand, but his legs gave out. He collapsed to the ground, barely conscious. The last thing he saw before darkness took him was Lysara's face as she ran into the arena toward him, crying his name. Jake woke up in a medical bay. Everything hurt. He tried to move, but pain shot through his entire body. A gentle hand touched his shoulder. "Don't move," Lysara said softly. She was sitting next to his bed, and she looked like she hadn't slept in days. "You have 3 broken ribs, a fractured arm, and more bruises than the doctors could count. But you're alive." "Did I win?" Jake asked. His voice came out rough and weak. Lysara smiled through her tears. "You won. The Krethiks have withdrawn their claim. New Portland is safe." Relief flooded through Jake. "Good. That's good." "You idiot!" Lysara said, but there was love in her voice. "You wonderful, brave, stupid idiot. You almost died." "But I didn't," Jake said. He managed a small smile. "Told you I'd come back to you." Lysara put her head down on the bed next to him and cried. Jake wanted to comfort her, but he was too tired. He drifted back to sleep with her hand in his. Over the next week, Jake slowly recovered. The Zafara medical technology was amazing. Things that would have taken months to heal on Earth took only days here. His crew visited him constantly, bringing him news and updates. "You're famous," Ben said one afternoon. "The entire galaxy is talking about you, the human who beat the Krethiks champion." "I got lucky," Jake said. "No," Amy corrected. "You were smart. You used your brain instead of just fighting with strength. That's very human of you." Lisa showed him her tablet. "Look at this. Dozens of species are now requesting formal contact with Earth. They want to establish diplomatic relations. You've changed how they see humanity." "We're not weak newcomers anymore," Ben said. "We're allies worth having." Jake felt proud, but also tired. "I just wanted to save the colony." "You did more than that," Lysara said from the doorway. She had been there every day, spending hours with him. "You showed everyone what humanity is capable of: hope, courage, determination. You proved that your species deserves to stand among the stars." As Jake got stronger, he had time to think. He thought about everything that had happened over the past 3 months. Meeting Lysara, learning about her people, falling in love, fighting for his people, nearly dying. Through it all, one thing became clear. He wanted to spend his life with Lysara, not because of an accident or political pressure, but because she made him complete. She challenged him. She believed in him. She loved him for who he was, human flaws and all. But the proposal had been a mistake. He wanted to do it right this time. Jake called his crew together. "I need your help with something." On the day the doctors cleared him to leave medical, Jake asked Lysara to meet him in the palace gardens. It was the same place where they had sat under the silver-leaved tree during his trial bonding period. Lysara arrived wearing a simple dress. She looked beautiful and a little worried. "Is everything okay? You sounded serious." "Everything's fine," Jake said. He was nervous, but in a good way. "I just wanted to talk to you about something important." Behind Lysara, Jake could see his crew gathered in the garden: Ben, Amy, Lisa, and the others. On the other side, Lysara's advisors and friends had gathered too, both of their families in a way. Jake took Lysara's hand. 3 months ago, I gave you a ring. I didn't know what it meant. I didn't understand what I was doing. It was an accident. Lysara's face fell. Jake, if you want to end this, I understand. You fulfilled your obligation. You saved New Portland. No one would blame you for wanting to go home. Let me finish, Jake said gently. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the same small box from 3 months ago. Inside was his grandmother's ring, the one Lysara had been wearing until she gave it back to him when he was hospitalized. I'm giving this back to you, Jake said. But this time, I want to do it right. He slowly got down on one knee. His ribs still hurt a bit, but he ignored the pain. This was too important. Lysara's eyes went wide. Her hands covered her mouth. Jake spoke slowly, using the Zephyra words he had learned. Queen Lysara of the Zephyra Empire, for 3 months I have walked beside you. I have learned your language, your customs, your dreams. I have seen your kindness and your strength. I have felt your love and given you mine in return. Tears were streaming down Lysara's face now. I know that you felt soul recognition when you first learned about me, Jake continued. I cannot feel that the way your people do, but I can feel this. He put his hand over his heart. In here, in my very human way. I know that you are the one I want to spend my life with, not because I have to, not because of politics or accidents, but because I love you. He opened the box and held up the ring. Will you bond with me, Lysara? Not as a queen to a captain, but as one person to another. Will you build a future with me? Lysara dropped to her knees in front of him. She was laughing and crying at the same time. She took his face in her hands and whispered the same words she had whispered 3 months ago. Finally. But this time Jake understood what it meant. She had been waiting for this moment. Not the accidental proposal, but this one. The real one. The one that came from his heart. Yes, Lysara said louder so everyone could hear. Yes, I will bond with you, Jake Murphy. Today, tomorrow, and for all the days to come. Jake slipped the ring back onto her finger. Then he kissed her, and the crowd erupted in cheers. Human and Zephyra all celebrating together. Ben was wiping his eyes. Amy was grinning. Lisa was recording everything for her research, but even she looked emotional. The bonding ceremony was held a week later. It was a beautiful blend of human and Zephyra traditions. Jake wore a formal Earth military dress uniform. Lysara wore traditional Zephyra bonding robes that seemed to be made of liquid starlight. Jake's parents attended via video link from Earth, his mother crying happy tears. Lysara's brother came from the other side of the Empire. Representatives from dozens of alien species attended, all wanting to witness this historic moment. When it came time for the vows, Jake spoke from his heart. I promise to stand beside you, to support you when you're tired, to challenge you when you're wrong, to laugh with you in joy and hold you in sorrow. I promise to be your partner, your friend, and your love for as long as we both live. Lysara's vows were just as beautiful. I promise to honor your humanity, to see you as you are, not as I wish you to be, to walk with you through all the challenges ahead, to build a future where our peoples can live as one, and to love you with every part of my soul, from this day until the stars grow cold. They sealed the bond with a kiss as the crowd cheered. At the celebration afterward, Amy stood up to make a toast. To Jake and Lysara, she said, raising her glass, who proved that humans do everything the hard way, including falling in love. May your bond be as strong as Jake's stubborn refusal to give up, and as beautiful as Lysara's patience in waiting for him to figure things out. Everyone laughed. Jake and Lysara looked at each other and smiled. Later that evening, as the celebration continued, Jake and Lysara stood together on a balcony overlooking the city. The 2 moons were full, and the stars seemed brighter than usual. What are you thinking about? Lysara asked. About how strange life is, Jake said. 3 months ago, I was just a ship captain trying to make first contact. Now I'm bonded to an alien queen, and somehow that feels like the most natural thing in the world." "Do you regret it?" Lysara asked quietly. "Not for a second," Jake said. He pulled her close. "You know what the best part is? This is just the beginning. We have a whole future ahead of us, building bridges between our peoples, exploring the galaxy together, maybe even starting a family someday." Lysara smiled. "Half human, half Zephyra children. That would be interesting." "Everything about us is interesting," Jake said, "and I wouldn't have it any other way." They stood together in comfortable silence, looking at the stars. Somewhere out there was Earth, Jake's home. But home wasn't just a planet anymore. Home was wherever Lysara was. Home was the future they would build together. Behind them, through the open doors, they could hear the celebration continuing. Humans and Zephyra dancing and laughing together. Two species united by friendship, alliance, and now, by love. It had started with an accident, a misunderstood gesture, a ring given in friendship that became a proposal. But it had become so much more. It had become a love story that would be told across the galaxy for generations to come. The story of a human captain and an alien queen who found each other against all odds, and every time the story was told, it would end the same way. With Lysara's whisper of "finally" and Jake's realization that sometimes the best things in life are the ones you never see coming. Sometimes you just have to trust that the universe knows what it's doing, even when you accidentally propose to an alien queen, especially then.